Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to show you how to run your Django application on your AWS EC2 instances. Okay, as a DevOps engineer, your responsibility is to run an application on an EC2 instance or any of the virtual machines for that matter, right? So before running your application on your EC2 instance, you will have to download all the dependencies, all the libraries that you want to run that application on your local machine first. Test if it is working fine in your local machine, and only then proceed to deploy that in the virtual machine. Okay, so now I have tested everything. So if you want, you can also test it. So I have documented everything in my GitHub repository. I'll be dropping the link to that in the description box below. You can check that out. Okay, so this is the documentation that I'm talking about, and this is the sample application, a to-do application that was developed by Shrey. He's one of the developer, an open source developer. Actually, he's the one who developed this code. I'm just using that code. As a DevOps engineer, you don't have to build an application. You will just have to deploy the application, monitor it, change some configuration, all those things you will have to do it. Okay, so that part we are doing it right now. Okay, so these are the documentation that are needed. These are the commands that you need to run in order to run this application on your EC2 instance. Okay, so these are the commands, and what I've done is I've created an EC2 instance or Ubuntu EC2 instance. So if you just want to check, this is the public IP, this is the private IP. So if you see the platform, it is Linux, and the platform is Ubuntu, right? So these are the things that I've already deployed. If you do not know how to create an EC2 instance, go ahead and watch the previous video that I've created on how to create an EC2 instance. Okay, so now let's start with the deployment. Okay, so to deploy, first we need to connect to that EC2 instance. So how to connect? So we can connect to that EC2 instance using many ways, but in this demonstration I'm going to use EC2 instance connect. Okay, so I'll click on connect. So this will open up a terminal in your browser itself. So it will take some time to establish a connection. After the connection is established, you will be having a terminal in front of you, right? If you see right now, this is my EC2 terminal. Let me close this white box here. Okay, so let me also clear the screen so that it is visible to you, and let me try to increase the font a bit. Okay, now if you see, I'm inside my EC2 instance, logged in using instance connect method. Okay, so this is the application that we are trying to upload or deploy. Okay, so the first step after you log into any Ubuntu machine, a new Ubuntu machine, is to update the system. So the command to update is sudo apt get update. Okay, so let me copy that here. Okay, so you can just copy and paste it so that it will be easy for you. Just run that and it will be downloaded. Okay, so this will update your system. It will download all the packages that are missing, and if there is any updates that have been done to the packages, it will download it and keep it ready for you, right? See, if you see here, fetched these many things. Okay, so next step is to clone this repository. So if you want to clone this repository, we have a command called git clone, and you need to paste this HTTPS link. Okay, so what I've done is I've also written that command here, and you just have to copy paste. So this is just a simple application. All credits to the developer. I am not the developer here, so I'm just a DevOps engineer. Okay, so this is the command is going to clone the repository into this EC2 instance. Okay, let me hit enter. If you see, this one has downloaded all the cloned all the that particular repo into my EC2 instance. Okay, so how to check that? So let me type in ls-lrt first. Sorry, it should be lowercase. Now if you see, it has been downloaded this or cloned this Django on EC2. Okay, so basically that is the repository name, right? So Django on EC2. Now the next step is to get inside that Django on EC2. Okay, so I'm inside my cloned repository, right? So let us check what are the code that we have here. So if you see all the things that you find in the GitHub repository here, it is inside this one. Okay, so we have cloned that repository. Okay, now let's go back to our code and see what is the next step. So the next step, so if you want to run the application, this application is a Django application. So if you do not have Django installed, then how will you run that application, right? So to download the Django, you will have to first install pip and then install Django. So that is the command that I have written here. If you see sudo apt install python 3 pip -y, and next is to install pip install Django. Okay, so first let me run this command. So this is going to install pip. Pip is a package that used to download all the other packages. Okay, so or the other libraries and dependencies of your Python. So if you do not know Python, go ahead and learn Python, because as a DevOps engineer, that is one of the important programming language or scripting language that everyone needs to know. Okay, so let me hit enter, and that's all. So right now we have installed pip. Okay, so let me clear my screen again. Now the next step is to install Django. So the Django library is in this package pip. So I'll download that using this command pip install Django. So let me paste it. So this is going to download the Django for you. Okay, so if you see, successfully installed Django. Okay, next you will have to once you have downloaded the Django, you will have to go inside that clone directory and run this command. Okay, so I think I've already inside my clone repository Django on EC2. So I'll just have to run this one. Okay, python 3 manage py.migrations. So these are the commands that are already provided by the developers. You don't have to worry about these things as a DevOps engineer. Okay, now if you see, there are no changes detected. That means we are good as of now. Next, we'll have to run this command again. Okay, so this will create so basically the previous command will create all the migration files, like database migrations required to run this application. Everything will be installed. Now the next step is to migrate it. So let me copy this command and paste it here. Okay, so hit enter. So this will migrate it. If you see here, it says okay. So okay means everything is fine as of now. Let's go forward. Next step is to create a super user. Okay, so let me run this command to create a super user. So before that, let me clear my screen so that it is visible to you. Let me paste that command. It will ask for a username. Okay, so you can give a username. I'll just say amonkincloud. Okay, so that is my username. Email address, I'll give my email address, amonkincloud @gmail.com. So if you have any queries or questions, you can write to this email address. This is my official email address. You will get the answers in 24 hours of time. Okay, so let me hit enter, and it is asking me for a password. Give any password. I'm just typing a password here. I'm not going to say that. So you will have to reconfirm that password. I'll just retype that password again. So after that, hit enter. So if you see here, it says super user created successfully. That means you have created the super user, right? So next is to run this command to run this server. Basically you are all done. Now you just have to run this application. Okay, so let me copy that and paste it here. Okay, so if you run this command, what happens? So basically this application is running in this particular range or in this particular IP address. Okay, so if you do not know what is this IP address, it is localhost, right? 127.0.0.1 is a local host, and this application, it is written in such a way that it is running on port 8000. Okay, but so inside a server, so how do you work, right? So what we can do is we can run this server on 0.0.0.0. Okay, so how to run that? It is pretty straightforward. Write the same command. Instead of stopping it here, we can add 0.0.0.0 again, 4 zeros with the dots, colon with 8000. Okay, so now this application will be running with your IP address. Okay, so let me go back to my EC2 instance. Let me copy the public IP address. Okay, so let me copy this public IP address and paste it in my browser with port 8000, right? I need to mention that. Let me hit enter. So if you see I'm not getting the response, by now you should have guessed the reason for this. The reason would be the security group. So let me check what allow or inbound rules that I have given in the security group. Okay, so let me check here. Right now if you see in my security group I am only allowing port 22, but this application is running on port 8000, right? So I need to add that rule here. So let me click on that. It is a custom TCP and the port is 8000. Let me mention 8000 and I'll allow from everywhere and click on save rules. Okay, as soon as I added this rule, I should be able to, see the code or see the application running on this particular port number. Right, so if I just refresh that page, now if you see I have that application. Okay, so if you see we have the to-do list here: send resume, Google Now, Hacktoberfest updates. Like if you want to delete it, you can delete it. If you want to add anything, let's say learn Python, you can add it here. Okay, so click on add, it will add in the list for you, right? So this is a beautiful application that Shrey has developed. All credits to him, but I'm just showing you how to deploy it on an EC2 instance. Okay, so I hope you liked the video. So that's it for today's video. If you're liking the content that I'm creating, please consider subscribing and share it among your friends. Thank you.